I appreciate y'all being here with me. We have a fantastic show prepared for you. I want to bring up your second act here. He is an incredible poet, and I want you to make some noise for him as he makes it to the stage. Give it up for Storyteller Gordon, all right? Y'all, get your hands clapping right now. Get your hands clapping. Keep them clapping till he gets here. It may be a long walk, but we appreciate it. If you stop clapping too soon, it brings the whole performance down. All right? Thank you so much for coming in. So, can you tell me what got you into poetry? And then this one's for you.
It was cheaper than therapy.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Now, when you first started with poetry, I feel like so many people write poetry at different points in their life and everything. Did you have any insecurities about sharing that poetry with people?
Of course. Yeah. I'm a skinny kid from Brooklyn, so you grow up with a tough persona.
Yeah.
You want to be tough, and initially I wish I would have just said I was a rapper, right? I was a rapper.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's all vulnerable stuff. You don't really want to share that.
Yeah.
I mean, there are no points for that.
It is wild that you say you're a skinny kid, because you are bigger than me. So I don't know what that makes me now. You're much thicker than me.
It's a mentality thing.
Oh, okay. I feel like it's an eyes thing. And so, do you think that in your journey through poetry, it's like opened your mind up to how you process everything, or do you look at poetry as its own specific thing?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
It certainly changed how you process things because you actually get to the end. One thing I like to tell people is the paper doesn't interrupt you. Most times you never really get to finish a thought in a conversation before someone interjects. So I really got to understand why I think the way that I think. And I started to write these thoughts down.
That's really dope. And I resisted the urge for the joke to interrupt you while you were
I appreciate it.
Yeah. And so, do you think that your approach to poetry came from just your own experience with art, or did you have such strong influences that you saw poets and you were like, oh, I want to make art the way they make art?
I was never into poetry a day in my life.
Oh, okay.
I was more influenced by rappers and comedians.
Yeah.
If you were to ask me who my influences are, I'm probably going to say Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, and Nas.
Yeah.
Rappers and comedians. Poetry wasn't really something I was going to regard as something that I wanted to do. So it was so weird to stumble in this space. I used to sell t-shirts and merch that said, I'm no poet, and poets are weirdos. And now I'm occupying the same space. It's the craziest thing.
Yeah. Now, is there anybody who bought one of those shirts off you that's come to one of your shows and been like, you lied to me?
Nah, because it was a brand thing. I was still saying it for years. I was running with, I'm no poet.
Yeah.
I'm a skinny kid from Brooklyn who writes. That's the end of that thing.
And what made you embrace being a poet?
And actually being vulnerable, because when you actually see how it started to impact other people, I started doing some really powerful things, and people come up to you and they're crying and they're impacted, and initially you kind of really want to tell people get away from me, because you don't know me like that, but you can't deny the connection of the storytelling. That person does feel connected to you in that moment. So I started to have to do that with more respect for the art form.
Yeah, and so do you think that built up an openness in you that now when people come up to you and they're moved by what you have to say, that you're more willing to accept that moment with them?
Nah, it's still kind of weird.
Oh, okay. All right, gotcha.
Give me a little space. I'm not mad at the connection, but can I get a disclaimer first? You want to introduce yourself?
Don't hit you with a hug immediately.
Yeah.
It's
weird.
I got you. I got you.
This is still New York City. You can't just run down on anybody.
Yeah. That is wild to think that you would do a poem that really impacts somebody, and then they run up to you afterwards, and then just out of reflex, you're like, bah! Like,
yeah. It's like things that nightmares are made of. Like, for real.
yeah. And so when you were writing, process-wise, is there something that you feel is the vehicle that gets everything started, or is it just like pure inspiration?
Conversation.
Yeah.
Usually I write from one true statement. Either I said something that I was like, oh, I gotta write that down. Or I was having a conversation with somebody and they said, you should write that down. And then later I'll look through my notes and I'll see a statement and I'll build an idea off of that statement.
Got you. Well, I'm gonna leave you to it. I want y'all to give it up for Storyteller Gordon real quick. I'll see y'all in a little bit.
Appreciate you. Y'all make some noise for Josh. I don't know too many people who would get a poet at their time in their show like that, so I appreciate that. I know he's doing this thing called the Flowers Tour, and I wanted to think about the occasion that I give flowers on. So the first one is appreciation. So flowers to Josh for that. But then there's apology. So I wanted to share a piece that I did based on an apology I feel that I was owed. Ran into an ex out there. She said, I want closure. I guess you expect me to reopen the wound and give it to you. Closure is for the person who stayed. You left. Left me heartbroken, left me on red, left me depressed, left me for dead because I felt like I died. You know, drowned in a river of tears, they said men don't produce. Choked on the pride I swallowed, trying to get back with you. Riddled with bullets because each time I reached out, I was shot down. Now, at what point did I learn my lesson? After my confidence was comatose in a head-on collision with depression, it took months for this resurrection. Maybe amnesia should have set in. See, I tried to scrub you from my memory, but I was unsuccessful in forgetting I remember. You said we could remain friends. But when you checked out, I got no check-ins, no hey strangers, no how's it going, no how you been, just a has-been. Who has bent over backwards out of love, has benevolent qualities you took advantage of, has benefited you in the past, but I've had enough. Isn't it typical for others to reach out only after you get a grip? Never when you're trying to avoid the slip. You see, when helping hands are attached to short wingspans and don't extend as far as you'd like, you grab onto shit. And your fingers never really get rid of the stench. Do you know how disturbing it is to feel ignored? No? Do you know how loud the voice of silence is when you hope someone would respond? Do you know the half-life of love and how long it takes for all of it to be gone? Because even after all that we've been through, a part of me wants to say it's good to see you. But then I look into your face and I don't see you, I just see pain. Money spent that can't be refunded. Gifts given that can't be exchanged. Days wasted that can't be recycled. Letters written that can't be erased. Trauma I have to heal from, caused by feelings that need to be replaced, matter of fact, removed. And I guess that starts today, but you say you want closure. Give me a fucking break. Closure is for the loser. So when you bid me farewell and left me holding these L's as you went on to live your best life, I'm bothered by what mine would look like. Did you ever think that you would be back here? Now look at you. No, look at you. Holding back tears. Guess the rumor I had purchased rings has finally gotten around to you. And that grass you thought was greener started looking brown to you. Stark truth, sis. Winter is coming. And I can tell you, alone and cold is the climate where bitterness grows. My advice is invest in a good coat. How that for closure? So the next one would be an apology that I owe somebody. People grow apart, right? That's what I told myself to sleep comfortably at night. That's how I was able to bear the burden of banishing a brother over bullshit. Now, why would you telling me what you did behind closed doors make me close my doors to you? After all that we've been through, I didn't even consider what it might have took for you to execute that move, silly me. Fixated on the fear that maybe all those years you were feeling me. Questioning whether your truth was fair to me. Never once considering how uncomfortable you would have been. Listening to my vivid description, speaking conquest of women, jokes, calling you gay when you didn't have any of your own stories to mention, forcing you to play wingman. Now, was my inability to accept you and your coming out decision rooted in my own guilt of feeling like I was responsible for you playing out of position, for not listening? Or was I listening then? You see, I used to look back and just blame it on my youth, when I was still too much of a coward to really face the truth that I was scared. Scared of what it meant for me. Scared of what it meant for how we define masculinity, knowing you were probably more of a man than I would ever be. Scared the conversation would change, so I got scared to speak. So scared I didn't answer your call one day has somehow turned into 318 weeks. Scared of having to label you my gay best friend. As if I needed a second adjective depicting how you lived to show that we were different. Scared the activities we enjoyed would now be different. Now, we gotta use different gym equipment. Like, menus would change and have a section for gays. Like, now would mean something different. To order Hennessy straight, like, your ability to understand sports would no longer be the same. Like, us hanging out would now look like a date. Scared you would talk about love in a way I couldn't relate. Scared because I'd be uncomfortable with the conversation of queer sex. Scared that you would notice. Scared of the moment where you finally realized that I was homophobic. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for treating you like you chose this. I'm sorry I was too ignorant to understand and too oblivious to notice. I'm sorry your best friend wasn't someone you could have told us. I'm sorry this isn't something I was able to help you cope with. I was sold out a warm hug, so I only offered cold shoulders. I'm sorry for my absence. I'm sorry for my abandonment. I'm sorry for everything that happened. I'm sorry for living up to the stereotype attached to cis straight black men. You deserve better. I'm trying to be. I'd like to believe I'm better now. Sorry that I wasn't then. Sorry that this education came at the cost of one of my closest friends, but I earned that degree. I learned that ally comes before empathy only in the dictionary, an expensive life lesson. But we tend to remember what we paid most for, especially if we're still paying today. Sincerely, any straight man who lost a close friend the moment he came out as gay. Story. All right, I got the heavy stuff out the way. Thank you. But another reason I like to give flowers is acknowledgement. So, how do I thank you for returning my smile? For support that comforts me as a man, but also comforts my inner child, maybe with some vows. Maybe with plans for forever that should start right now. Maybe with a title that powers tidal waves of goodbyes to the feeling of feeling undesired. Can I claim you as mine? Can I hack your insecurity system? Reprogram it with the same confidence you've given me when you became my greatest accomplishment. I mean, not too many things are as difficult as finding the right partner is. Can I end your curse of broken promises? Be the realest definition of what honest is when it still considers your reception of it. Did I say that right? Girl, you make me want to proofread. I mean, I want to consider you when I say things. See, most of the time you got the answer and you're not even trying to sway things. Can I hang on to your amazing? Stretch your fantastic? I know time's been grim, but I no longer want to be your plaything. See, in the past I was guilty of playing, of asking myself these hypotheticals instead of making definitive statements. So thank you for returning my smile, for helping heal past wounds by being present right now, for exercising patience when I didn't always know how to articulate my feelings the same way I do now, when I had the tendency to people please and to promises that I couldn't keep. Thank you for adding more value to the words I choose to speak, and now I speak them off the biggest stages. I still talk like it's just you and me, but it's just you for me. It's like you formed me, molded me into finished product from scraps that others used to meddle with. For that alone, you deserve a precious metal attached to an even more precious stone. Thank you for becoming my home. Now I'm on run for one to come inside. Welcome a new life. Create a soul tie that you and I could possibly give a name to. See, monogamy isn't even the hard part anymore, because I don't want anybody that ain't you. Story. For my last piece, this is affirmations. Her body be a New Year's resolution. I mean, a reason to drink more water, get more sleep, take vitamins. I mean, a reason to get in shape, because how her shape is, her body be all natural. Not from concentrate, but a reason to concentrate, or the reason I lose concentration. How Drake say? Combination, like 69 gods were flexing on her creation, cause how? No, really, how? It's beyond explanation, like science will call her overweight or underweight or out of shape, but really they just hating on her superior adaptation. Cause her BMI is no business of mine unless we talking about how her body might impress. Or her booty make indents, like start a new paragraph could leave me speechless, but might lead to the start of a sentence because it give me life. Period. Back to her BMI. Her body be mission impossible, but one I accept. Be beyond measurable influence, because you see what others do to mimic it, but hers cracks the code. Her body's got my mind's algorithm out of rhythm, cause she be filling up my timeline, taking up my downtime, corrupting my hard drive, but I never been more driven to find times just to spend more. Her body be the reason I get a second job, budget better, get a new car to get it together. See how my concentration came back to the New Year's resolutions? Won't her body do it? Ain't I trying to do it? Complete to-do list, try new things, eat clean, be in good company, give her that work. I mean, support women-owned businesses. Breathe more, walk in faith. Her body be something to pray for, so I pray more. Get on knees, become Mr. Fix-It. I mean, learn to use my hands more in order to support her needs. Be more hands-on, not just talk about it, but do it. Her body be my New Year's resolution, and this year, I'm committed. Story. That is my time. Thank y'all so much. If you're looking to follow the other stories coming good on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, MySpace, Snapchat, Venmo, whatever you want to do there.
Thank you so much. Give it up for her one more time.